My name is Christine Hodgdon. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but I reside in Baltimore, Maryland. I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer in April of 2015 at the age of 34. So it's been almost 6 years now since my diagnosis, and I'm still on my first line of treatment. My breast cancer subtype is triple positive, which means my tumors express HER2, estrogen, and progesterone, and I'm on drugs that target these estrogen and HER2 receptors. The drugs that have saved my life were once being studied in clinical trials to determine whether or not they were safe and effective for human patients. The trials were able to prove to the medical community that they were actually much better than the standard of care and that they could extend lives, and they quickly became the new standard of care for patients today. Without clinical trials, we cannot advance research that could save the lives of people living with metastatic breast cancer, and clinical trials are not possible without patients. We need to study the safety and effectiveness of cancer drugs in the human body in order to approve drugs for use in patients. Not only do we test drugs in the human body, we need to ensure that the people participating in clinical trials accurately reflect the demographics of real-world populations. Though humans are all the same species, we know that there are many differences from one person to another, and these factors can absolutely influence how an individual reacts to a drug. Just as a man and a woman are different, so are people of different races and ethnicities. It's therefore necessary that any entity conducting trials, whether it's a research institution or industry, they need to create protocols that don't exclude underrepresented populations. As patient advocates, we can help diversify clinical trial participation by educating and dispelling popular myths. One common myth is that patients who participate in trials run the risk of getting a placebo or a sugar pill that doesn't actually help them. This is not true for cancer patients. Patients always receive the standard of care for their cancer. If the standard of care is chemotherapy, the patients will receive chemotherapy plus the experimental drug. And the beauty of trials is that the experimental drug might even be better than the chemotherapy, which means patients can access cutting-edge treatments that may extend their lives or improve their quality of life better than what a patient would receive if they were not on the trial. I've also heard patients express fear that clinical trials are only intended as a last resort. While this can be true, and I myself have helped patients at the end of their lives who have run out of standard options, I've helped them qualify for a trial. There are also many trials that are not last resorts, and I myself participated in a neuropathy trial while I was undergoing chemotherapy. I put my hands and feet in frozen mitts and booties to determine whether or not this would slow the blood circulation to my hands and feet and therefore reduce the incidence of neuropathy to those extremities. I actually have very little neuropathy compared to many other patients, and I attribute that to my participation in this particular clinical trial. This trial happened about 6 years ago, which was not at all intended as a last resort. I was definitely not at the end of my life, but in fact, it was a trial that improved my quality of life. October may be Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but metastatic breast cancer is here all year, and I am too.